Bien, muy bien. I'm having trouble with my background this morning. Thank you, Kimura. Did you enjoy your long weekend? See? Muy bien. Okay, give me a second and I'll fix my background up. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to share my background, you guys, this morning. All right, can y'all see that? Give me a thumbs up if y'all can see that. See? Okay. So this is yay, gracias. So which Spanish question word, very good, Kimura, would we use if we needed to know the location of something? Y'all remember that? Very good, Holden. Which Spanish question word would we use? Yeah, yes, Priscilla. Good, Haley. Good job, you guys. I'm impressed. I am impressed. James, you got an answer? What do you think? Nikki, how about you? You got an answer? Which Spanish question word would we use if we needed to know the location of something? Yeah, very good, James. Okay, thank you, Kamora. Anyone else? Which Spanish question word would we use if we needed to know the location of something? Did you have a good weekend, you guys? Yes? Some rest, maybe, have some fun. Good morning, Aslan. Good morning, Heaven. Priscilla, did I say good morning to you? Good morning, Akari. How are you? All right. I don't want to be rude, even if it would be a mistake, right? Good morning, Elizabeth, Charlie. Oh, Kamora, that's great. Good morning, Catalina. Lay, buenos dias. Where does she go to school, Kamora? Good morning, Arshas. You guys remember we need our cameras on. Oh, wow. In New York? Oh, in Georgia. Okay, see, that goes show you what I know. Good morning to Stacy. Good morning, Carlin. Buenos dias. Good morning, Dallas. ¿Qué tal? Charlie, ¿qué tal? How was your guys' weekend? Did you have a good 3 days and you got to rest and all that goodness, right? And I'm sure your other teachers have reminded you, and I'll just do the same thing. Make sure, you guys, that you know the schedule for the week, since we have a different schedule this week, right? Yeah. How's everyone today? So did anybody else do something fun or have something fun happen to them? Which Spanish question word would we use if we needed to know the location of something? Yes, Stacy. So if you haven't answered the question, you should see it up on the screen. Which question word would we use, you guys? Pop it in the chat. Or you can unmute. I prefer you unmute, honestly. If you wanted to know the location. Oh, very good. How old? Arches, muy bien, perfecto. Anyone else? Which Spanish question word would we use if we needed to know the location of something? All righty, anyone else? All right, buenos dias, clase. What Spanish question word would we use if we needed to know where something is located, right? Where something is located. The question word would be donde, right? Donde. Marilisa, Dallas, buenos dias. Yeah, donde, you guys. And if we wanted to know where something or someone was from, we would add that de, donde, right? Or if we wanted to know where someone or something was going, we could say a donde, right? So there's different forms of donde. Yeah, where you live, donde vives, where do you live, right? So donde is the word that we use for location in terms of question, right? Muy bien, clase, muy bien. Okay, so what are we doing today? Well, clase, take a look up here. Hoy es martes, and normally we're not together on Tuesdays, isn't that right? So we're not going to see martes very often. But anyway, so today's Tuesday, right? Es martes, el 2 septiembre. So let's think about this 1 second. It's the 2nd of September. When we, in English even, yesterday was the 1st of September. So in English, when we are talking about like the 1st of the month, like what's the date today? September 1st, if we were to say that, right? June 1st. We don't say June 1 or September 1 or whatever, right? We say 1st in English. And in Spanish, they're going to do the same thing, right? The word is primer, like primer. It's spelled like primer, right? El primer septiembre, right? The 1st of September. And so prime, like a prime number or a premier, something that happens first, right? If you guys have ever helped maybe a family member paint a house, maybe you had to put down like primer, like as a first layer before you actually put the paint on, right? So we use that word in English, a primer, for things that we do to get things ready, things that we have to do first. Or a premiere, like a movie premiere where it comes out first time it's being shown, right? So in Spanish, when we have the 1st of any month, we're going to use that word primer, right? We're not going to use the word uno or one, just like we would in English to say first, right? But today, clase is dos, right? El dos, the 2nd of September. Can you guys believe that already? It's September. Woohoo! All right. Muy bien, muy bien. All right, so what are we doing today? Well, behind me, vamos a practicar con las palabras interrogativas, so those question words, right? Y prepararnos para la prueba, y conocer las fechas. Now, you guys know I always overplan, so we may not always get to the end of here, right? But what we need to focus on today is practice with these question words so that we can start using them in class on a regular basis. And then we're going to have a short quiz on Thursday, right? And so I don't like surprises on quizzes and things like that. I'm sure you guys don't either. So what I always do is I'll actually pull up the quiz on the screen. You'll have a chance to see it and see what you need to do with it in order to get prepared, like how you want to study or something like that. Okay. All right. Preguntas, questions, any questions about what we're doing today? So basically everything we do today is to help us prep for this quiz on Thursday. Okay. Our word for quiz in this class is called a prueba. You'll see it up here in case you need to look at it. And in Canvas, when we have a prueba, it will say prueba. So you know that that's a quiz, because sometimes in Canvas, teachers have to create assignments and stuff using the quiz format, but it's not really a quiz, but the wording looks like a quiz. So just know it's not a quiz unless it says prueba. Okay, any questions about that, you guys? All right, give me 1 second. All right. All right, so the first thing I want us to do is I have a little kind of ed puzzle. You guys ever do an ed puzzle? I'm hoping it'll come up today. Okay, so what we're going to do these like kind of as a class. All right, and so give me 1 second to get this pulled up here. All right. Now, you guys will learn throughout the school year that I like really cheesy, ridiculous kind of videos. So that's kind of what I'm gonna have to get used to doing. Okay, so this is kind of one of them. So here's what we'll do. We'll watch a video, it'll pause, it'll ask us a question. You guys are just going to put your answers in the chat. Okay, is that clear? Yep. So make sure that you can hear and make sure that you can see the screen. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you're ready, clase, por favor. Yes, Haley, we ready? Yeah, gracias. Marisa, Stacy, I can't see you. Lay, I can't see you. Elizabeth, you ready? All right. All right, here we go, you guys. Well, come on. And let me stop sharing. Let me get this to work. Give me a second. Lo siento, clase. It's like Monday, right? Give me another minute. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, here we go. Okay, so asking a question that can be answered yes or no is very easy. But you would just put question marks around it, right? Or change the sound of your voice. That's what they're going to tell us here, right? Change the sound of our voice. However, if we need specific information, we need to use one of our question words, okay? All right, so how many question marks do you need when asking a question in Spanish? Is it A, B, or C? Pop your answer in the chat. You can just do A, B, or C. Very good. I want to hear from everyone. This is just kind of a warmer-upper. Yeah, A, B, or C. All right, so if you guys said B, which would be 2, very good, you guys. One in front, one in back, right? And the one in front is going to be upside down, okay? So yes and no questions are easy, right? You can just take a simple sentence, put your question marks in if you're writing. If you're speaking, same deal, right? You just take your simple sentence and you change the pitch of your voice, right? Just like we would in English, okay? So the difficulty again comes when we want to use a question word because we're asking for
Hablan español.
Information, okay?
¿Hablan español?
So here are some examples.
¿Te gusta bailar? ¿Te gusta bailar? Vive en París. ¿Vive en París?
Yep. So you can hear that the end, our tone goes up at the end, right? Okay. So when speaking, do you need to raise the pitch of your voice at the end of a question? Sí o no? All right. How do we differentiate it from a basic sentence, right? So our answer is A or B, sí o no? Sí. And we do it in English. We don't even know that we do it anymore, right? It's just part of what we do. Okay. Muy bien. So sí.
¿Qué? ¿Para qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Cómo? ¿Cuándo?
All right. So what is how in Spanish? A, B, or C? Is it por qué, qué, or cómo? A, B, or C? What is how in Spanish? So remember, this is the one, you guys, that we talked about last week, where I said it's kind of a multi-purpose thing, that we're going to use it not only to ask, like, how are you, but to ask for a description, like, what is the dog like, right? What is the food at that like? Okay, when we want a description. So is it A, B, or C? Yes, very good. So our answer would be como. Como. How. Okay. Por qué is why. Que is what. Right. And como is how. And como is that multi-purpose one. Okay. For descriptions or how are you doing? How are you feeling? Okay.
¿Dónde? ¿A dónde? ¿De dónde? ¿Quién? ¿Quiénes? ¿De quién?
Okay. So de quién, remember from our quizzes that we practiced with last week, is when we're talking about belonging or like ownership, right? Whose is this? Who does this belong to? De quién. Okay. All right. What is the plural of who? Is it quién or quiénes? Is it A or B? Tell me in chat, A or B. The plural of who? A or B? Quién or quiénes? Okay, good job, you guys. So if we think about it in English, right, anything that has an S on the end in English is generally plural, more than one. And in Spanish, we're going to add an S sometimes, or we're going to add an ES. So if you said be quienes, you're absolutely correct, right? The plural, okay?
¿Quién? ¿De quiénes? ¿Cuál? ¿Cuáles?
Okay. How do you say when in Spanish? Is it cuando, cuánto, or cuántos? A, B, C. Tell me in chat. A, B, or C? Is it cuando, cuánto, or cuántos? We need to say when. Very good. I can't trick you guys. Good job. So you should have said, very good. A. If you said A, cuando with a D, you're absolutely correct. Because remember, with a T, we're talking about quantity. That letter T is our clue, our cheat. Yeah. Quantity. Okay, is how much. But so that means when is going to be cuando. Very good. Couldn't trick you guys.
¿Cuánto? ¿Cuánta? ¿Cuántos? ¿Cuántas?
Okay. How would we translate what are you doing? Is it A, cuando haces? Is it B, cómo haces? Or is it C, qué haces? What are you doing? Is it A, B, or C? ¿Cuándo haces? ¿Cómo haces? Or qué haces? What are you doing? Hear from everyone, por favor. A, B, or C. What are you doing? What? Yeah, great job, you guys. So most of you said C. ¿Qué haces? ¿Qué haces? If cuando is when, we just talked about, and cómo is how, right? We talked about that as well when we're looking for a description of something, right? But what are you doing? ¿Qué? ¿Qué haces? C.
¿Qué haces? ¿Para qué lo
So what do you
necesitas?
need it for? ¿Para qué?
¿Por qué lloras?
Or what are you crying for?
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cuándo regresan?
Okay. So where does he live? Is it A, quién vive? B, dónde vive? Or C, por qué vive? A, B, or C. Where does he live? A, B, or C. So if you guys were paying attention to our warm-up today, where does he live? Yep. Yeah, muy bien. If you said B, ¿dónde? ¿Dónde vive? Because quién is who, and por qué is why. Okay, so where, ¿dónde vive? Where do you live? Or where does he live?
¿Dónde vive? ¿A dónde vamos?
So if we look at this, ¿a dónde vamos? Where are we going to? Right? That's kind of an understood word. So let's look at our question. From where are you? Or we would say in better English, where are you from? Very good, you guys. So is it A, cómo eres? B, de dónde eres? Or C, quién eres? A, B, or C? Tell me in chat. Looks like I can't fool you here either. If it's where, then like we said a minute ago, ¿dónde? And therefore our answer would be B, right? Where are you from? De dónde eres? Okay, good job.
¿De dónde eres? ¿Quién es ella? ¿Quiénes son ellos? ¿De quién es esta casa? ¿Cuál prefieres?
Okay, how much? So again, we're talking about quantity. How much is it? How much does it cost? How much does it weigh? Right? Whatever. Okay, how much? So is it A, B, or C? ¿Qué cuesta? ¿Cuándo cuesta? Or cuánto cuesta? A, B, or C? How much? How much? A, B, or C? ¿Qué cuesta? ¿Cuándo cuesta? ¿O cuánto cuesta? Man, I can't trick you guys. Good job. Fantastic. ¿Cuánto? The T, quantity, right? Quantity. Muy bien.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
Good job, you guys.
¿Cuántas hijas tienes?
Okay. All right. Any questions, you guys, before we continue practicing with these? That was just our little kind of warm up. No? Okay. Bueno. Okay. I have a cheesy song for us. Yes, I do indeed. It's our Monday today, right? So we got to be cheesy, and I have plenty of cheesy songs. So let me get that pulled up. All right, here we go. It's Basho again. Okay, so make sure y'all can hear. Make sure y'all can see. Because our brain likes it when you do both. Okay, all right, here we go.
The beat drop on him.
¿Por qué? Ask why. Cuando? Ask when. Donde? Ask where to find out who. Ask quién. ¿Cuántos is how many? And it sounds like quantity. Question words in Spanish. Seems like there are so many. Question words in Spanish. Seems like there are so many. With whom do you go? ¿Con quién vas tú? ¿A dónde is to where? ¿De dónde? It is from where are you? ¿Qué is what? Which is cuál? How is como? Put an accent on them all. How is como? Put an accent on them all. ¿Por qué? Ask why. Cuando? Ask when. Donde? Ask where to find out who. Ask quién. ¿Cuántos is how many? And it sounds like quantity. Question words in Spanish. Seems like there are so many. Question words in Spanish. Seems like there are so many. With whom do you go? ¿Con quién vas tú? ¿A dónde is to where? ¿De dónde? It is from where are you? ¿Qué is what? Which is cuál? How is como? Put an accent on them all. How is como? Put an accent on them all. Say why. ¿Por qué? Say when. ¿Cuándo? Say how. ¿Cómo? Say what? ¿Qué? Say what? ¿Qué? Say to where. ¿A dónde? Say who. ¿Quién? How many? ¿Cuántos? With whom? ¿Con quién? Say where. ¿Dónde? From where? ¿De dónde? Say what? ¿Qué? Say what? ¿Qué?
Okay, good or bad? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do y'all say on that one? See or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Communicate in English easily.
Okay, all right. Bueno, all right. Let me pull up my next one. I got a little game for you, but I gotta be able to pull it up here. So give me 1 second. I don't know if this is going to work for all of us or not, but we're going to try. It's thinking. Okay. I'm gonna put the link in chat and you guys, I'm hoping that it lets you in. I'll meet you over in Go Guardian and see if there's issues. All right. Lisa, it's working for you? Okay, good. Lay, Stacy, James, Dallas, Charlie, Oriana. Aslin, is it gonna let you in? Akari, go ahead and get in, you guys, so I can start. All right, here we go. All right, let's see how we do. Take your time. If you can see my Zoom, my background, that might be give you a little edge. Yay. All right. One more time, you guys. Let's play again. Okay, here we go. One more time. Okay, here we go. I need everybody's participation. You guys try. Everybody needs to try. Quiz is Thursday. Holden, Kari, Dallas. If you can see my Zoom screen, they're behind me. Need to give it a try. All right, look at that. Nicely done. All right, good job. Okay, let's back out of that, you guys. Well done. Well done. Some of you got these. Good job. Okay. Let's practice that I want us to do before we switch gears and before I show you what's going to be on the quiz is, let's find it. Here it is. Okay. All right, so this is different. Okay, so you guys should be able to see a spinner. I'm going to spin the wheel. Be prepared because I might call on you to just tell me what it means real fast. And I'm going to switch my background so I don't give you any clues. Okay, now remember, you guys, this is not meant for me to trick you or, anything like that, right? But for you to gauge how well you know this for Thursday. Okay, so you're challenging yourself, right? All right, here we go. I'm going to spin the wheel. All right, so it landed on cuantos, cuantos, cuantos. So Nikki, can you unmute and tell me cuantos? ¿Qué quiere decir? Very good. Anybody can pop it in the chat. Absolutely. Nikki, what does cuantos mean? ¿Qué quiere decir cuantos? Good, Haley. Good, Kimura. Caroline. Very good, you guys. Nikki, in English, cuantos? Unmute, por favor. In English, what's it mean? Yep.
How many?
There you go. How many? Good job. Cuantos. That T helps us with our quantity, right? All right. Spin again. Good job, you guys in the chat. Okay. ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde? Good heaven. Haley, muy bien. Carlin, muy bien. ¿De dónde? Good, Arshas. All right. Heaven, can you unmute, por favor, and tell us what does de dónde mean?
From which?
From which?
No. From where?
That's it. I knew you got it. Very good. From where? De dónde? De dónde? Okay, good job. Nicely done in the chat also. Okay, here's another one. ¿Quién es? ¿Quién es? So you need to be specific on this. Yep, Aslan, you're right, but yep. There you go, Marilisa. Be specific, you guys. Very good, Haley. Elizabeth, I haven't heard from you. Carolina, Charlie, Holden, hey, who else haven't I heard of? Lay, Oriana. Canis. Okay, James. Almost. Aslan, how about you? Did you answer this one? Did I miss it? Okay. Okay, anyone else? All right, Kimura, can you unmute, por favor? Tell us what it means.
It's plural for whose, so it'd be whose.
Yeah, who or whose, right? But plural. Okay, right? Sí, muy bien. Plural because it ends in that es. All right, couple more. All right, K. And you guys notice that all of these are supposed to have accent marks, right? But the spinner didn't allow me to do that. So know that they have to have accent marks. Okay, so what is K? K. K. All right, very good. All right, Lay, can you unmute, por favor? Tell us what does K mean? ¿Qué quiere decir qué? Lay, what did you tell us? Can you unmute, por favor? What does K mean?
What?
What? Very good. Muy bien. What? Muy bien. All right, one more, you guys. One more. Okay. ¿Por qué? Good, Carlin. Marcius, muy bien. Yep. Good, Marilisa. Well, put it in good English, right? Good English. How would we use it in English? Good, Elizabeth. Aslan, very good. Ley, muy bien. Yeah, good job, Heaven. Yeah, okay. Aslan, can you unmute? ¿Qué quiere decir por qué como pregunta, as a question? What does it mean as a question?
Why?
Why? Very good. And then you guys, what does it mean when we put the words together? How do we answer why? It means what? Very good, Carlin. Lisa. Why is it hot outside? Because the sun is shining, right? So because, okay. So then we would just get rid of that space. Porque becomes one word. Yeah. So basically why and because are the same words, just because has no space. Okay. Yeah. All right. Preguntas, questions. I have one question. What does this I mean? Hay. That's the one I try to explain you guys that that's probably the best word to learn in Spanish. Yeah. Because it's both singular and plural, and you don't even need to worry about another action word or another verb or something. What is I? Hay un perro. Hay un perro. Hay dos perros. Right? What am I saying? What's a perro, you guys? Anybody remember that word? Dog? Hay un perro. Right? Hay dos perros. Yes, there is. Very good. Singular or there are. Right? Hay dos perros. Are there two dogs? Right? Hay un perro. Is there a dog? Or do you have a dog? Right? Sometimes it can mean that as well. So when it's not, used as a question. So there is or there are. And so sometimes we can use that, you guys, so that we don't have to think about the correct form of a verb that we might need. We can just take our words that we know and rearrange it around there is or there are. So I is real important. It's a good one to know. Okay. All right. Any questions? Preguntas? All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to pull up what the quiz is going to look like. Okay. And that way you'll know how to study, or you'll know what to study. Well, you know what to study. You have the words, right? But you'll know, and it's real simple because, again, this is just kind of an introductory kind of a thing, right? So let me just show you what it looks like. I don't like to surprise anybody. So if you have not, completed that question words practice sheet, you really want to do that before Thursday. That will give you that extra practice, right? Kind of like a study guide kind of a thing. Okay. You also have the presentación that's in your module, and you also have the question words in your resource library. So you have plenty of opportunities where to practice them. Okay. All right. So take a look. FYI, all year long, when you see this word prueba, right? Like I said, that means it's a quiz and not just like an assignment or something. Okay. In which case the rules are a bit different. So I will ask you to close your tabs, except your Zoom and your Canvas, of course. You'll choose the correct meaning of each question word. Remember to submit it. If you use outside resources, you will get a 0. Okay. And then I just put a note here, question words in Spanish should always have an accent mark, but sometimes with technology, it's hard to do that. Okay. So it's pretty simple. There are 10 questions and it's just multiple choice. Okay. Yeah, easy peasy, you guys, 10 points, nothing crazy. Okay. But once again, you do have those resources in the resource library in the module to help you practice any of those if you struggled today or whatever. Okay. It's really easy stuff. Again, if you haven't yet done the worksheet, get it done by Thursday, and that'll give you that extra practice before the quiz. Okay. All right. Any other questions before we switch gears? I'm going to leave that lay. I'm pretty much done with those, right? We'll use those all year long. Okay. All right. This next bit that we're going to do is easy. However, signing me out. So if we get cut off, just sit tight. I'm getting booted. Yeah. Just sit tight and then I'll rejoin you if we get booted. Okay. All right, let's try this again. How rude, right? How rude, it wants to dump me. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, yeah, by computer here. Okay, so this is more for me. This next little mini lesson is more for me than it is for you, okay? But I need for you guys to answer to the best of your ability, right? Because what I'm doing is I'm going on a fact-finding mission, okay? I need to know sort of what you know, right? So that as we move forward, because, you know, this is just our preliminary unit, and this is basically kind of like memorizing things or whatever. But pretty soon here, we're going to switch gears and we're going to start getting into some things that are a little more difficult, a little more specific. And so, because remember, we're always on that staircase climbing up. And so this is going to help me know sort of how to tailor lessons for us, okay? Because we want to build a good, strong foundation in Spanish before we move on. So I need you guys, again, this is more for me than for you, but I do need you guys to answer the questions to the best of your ability so that I have a good gauge. Okay. All right. Give me a minute. I'm still waiting on my computer. Come on. Sorry, you guys. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can do this. Okay. All right. Once again, this is not difficult. Okay. But if you have a question, then you need to let me know. All right. I'm going to share. Okay. So once we get done with our preliminary unit here, you guys, like I said, we're going to start manipulating words. Like words are like puzzle pieces, right? And we need to make connections, right? Figure out how the edges fit together and find the right place for them, et cetera, right? And so having said that, that means that there's certain words, certain terminology, certain things that I need to know that you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So we're going to do this little mini lesson real quick today. About, I guess, different parts of speech, I guess is one way of looking at it. So what is a noun? Okay. So a noun, you guys, is a person, a place, or a thing, or, right? I'm going to switch this color. I don't like red. Or an idea. That's huge. Because in Spanish, when we translate things in our head, right? Even if we're not doing it, you know, like written on a piece of paper or something like that. If we're doing it in our head, right? It is an idea. Okay. And so we have to remember that those things are nouns as well. Now, the tricky part about a noun, okay, a person, place, thing, or idea. An idea can be something like honesty. You know, what is honesty? Friendship, freedom, loyalty, anger, wisdom, memory. Okay, all kinds of other things, right? Those are ideas. They are not things that we can touch, right? Feel or see necessarily. Okay. So the thing that we have to remember that's different about English and Spanish, and we've already kind of talked about this or looked at this, is that in Spanish, when we're talking about nouns, when we're talking about persons, places, things, or ideas, there are four criteria, 4 requirements, okay, that we will always have to think about. And you've heard me say this already this year, we look for patterns here because it's easier to figure out the pattern and go with it than to try to memorize every little thing, okay? So there's these 4 criteria that are going to help us with some patterns, right? So in Spanish, every noun, every person, place, thing, or idea has a gender. We know this, we've talked about it, right? Masculine or feminine, singular or plural. Okay, now, singular meaning one item, plural meaning more than one item. So we know that if we have a car, right, we have one car, or maybe we have 2 cars. And those are things that we can fit. We can change that. We can change how many of something, right? Cuánto, right? We can change the quantity of something. However, we will never, ever, ever, never change the gender. We will never change masculine or feminine. If it is masculine, it is always masculine. Okay. If it is feminine, it is always going to be feminine. All right. Any questions about what I just said? Now, who knows what I mean when I say default? Like if I think about a computer has like default settings, right? What do I mean by default? Yeah, like automatic. Okay, very good. What else? How else? If I say computer has default settings, yeah, very good. Like it's something that's already set in place. Okay. So one thing, yeah, like regular, right? Like that's like the starting point. Okay. So in Spanish, when we are talking about a noun, a person, place, thing, or idea, the starting point, the default, okay, the original setting is always going to be masculine and singular. Okay, let me say it again. Our original setting, our default, is always going to be, our starting point is always going to be masculine and singular when we talk about a noun. Okay, and then if we need to make it plural, we can make it plural. If what we're talking about happens to be feminine, if that noun is feminine, then it needs to be feminine, because we're never going to change that, right? If it's feminine, we need to make sure we know that it's feminine, and then we would make our changes after that to make it feminine and plural. So again, always, always, always the things we have to think about: masculine, feminine, singular or plural. Singular or plural, we can change. Masculine or feminine, we cannot. Okay? All right. Good job, you guys. again, stop me if you have a question, or stop me if there's something you want to add. Okay, I like interruptions and I like discussion, right? So feel free. Okay, so once again, you guys, we know if we're talking about a person, could be mom, dad, he, she, right? Or somebody's name. Or it can be like, you know, teacher or doctor, right? Whatever. It can also be our pet. Yeah. Our pet. Places can be specific geographic places, or it can be like a hospital or school, or it can be a desk, you know, I don't know, a chair, okay, depending upon how we use it. Things are obviously things. And then we talked about ideas, right? So these are nouns, and in Spanish, these things are going to be masculine or feminine, and they will never change, right? Whatever they are, they are. We can't change them, okay? All right, so let's look at verbs. Verbs are action words, right? And so you're going to hear me say that often. Action words, action words, action words, right? But we need to know that a verb is an action word. And verbs can express physical action like jumping. Okay. Things that we can see physically, right? Jumping, sleeping, right? Talking, singing, laughing, crying, I don't know, whatever. Okay. Actions that we can like see, physical things. Okay. And remember, it can be like making the bed, making, right? It's a physical thing, right? Verbs or action words are also mental actions, like thinking. Okay. And the trickiest of all is states of being. What is like our existence at the moment? Okay. So to say, for example, in English is to be. I am cold. He is tall, right? We are students. They are, I don't know, they are old. I don't know, pick something, whatever. Okay. So states of being. I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, and they are. Okay. All right. Any question? Yeah, dancing. Very good. Okay. So any questions about verbs so far? Okay. So when we're learning Spanish verbs or action words, we have to remember that they're not always going to be physical activity, right? They're not always going to be something that we can see. And then this other word that kind of goes along with verbs, you guys, is something called a conjugation. It's a big old word. And all it means is to change. Okay. So verbs change. Unlike a noun, a person, place, thing, or idea, that if it's feminine, it's always going to be feminine. If it's masculine, it's always going to be masculine. Verbs are going to change. Okay. How? Well, first of all, there are multiple forms of a verb, and we have to figure out how to match them. So in English, for example, if I say, I am the teacher, okay? I am. Am is the form that goes with I. We know that because we speak English, right? I am the teacher. If I were to come to you and say, I is the teacher, or I are the teacher, right? Your radar would be going off. You would know that that's incorrect, right? That I and are, right? Or I and is don't match, right? It should be I am the teacher, right? So I am, you are, he or she is. Yeah. So notice right there, we have three forms. We have changed the verb to be to I am, you are, he is. Okay. So that's what we call a conjugation. And that's what we need to do in Spanish. Okay. So they're going to be spelling changes, just like I am, you are, he is, right? And different forms. And we're going to have to figure out how to match them in order to speak correctly. Okay. Yes. Yeah. And then there's things like present tense and past tense and all different kinds of present tenses and all different kinds of past tenses and all those kind of things, right? We will primarily, for first semester, focus on just the regular old present tense, right? Okay. All right. Very good. So any questions about verbs? Okay. So I have a question for you. How are verbs different in Spanish? If you were listening to what I said, how are verbs different from nouns in Spanish? What do verbs do that nouns don't? Do you remember what I said? Nouns in Spanish have those 4 criteria, right? What's the difference between how we treat a noun and how we're going to treat a verb? Do y'all remember? Okay, let me ask you. Do nouns in Spanish ever change from masculine to feminine? Yes or no? In Spanish, is it, if something is masculine, will it ever become feminine? No, absolutely not. So no change from masculine. Remember the default? We talked about that, right? Okay. And so if something is, if a thing, something, right, you guys, a noun is masculine, it will always be masculine. If it's feminine, it will always be feminine, right? But what about a verb? Verbs are going to change based on what? Based on who is doing the action, right? I think, but he thinks, right? So those are going to change, okay? Now here's the other thing about verbs in Spanish. Verbs, you guys, do not have gender. So there is no verb that is masculine and there is no verb that is feminine, right? But verbs are singular or plural. So for example, I am, but we are. Okay, so I am, I'm only talking about me, right? But we is more than one, we are. Okay, so verbs are neutral in terms of gender, right? In terms of masculine or feminine, but they are singular or plural. Okay, all right, let's keep going. All right. All right, so let's talk about what is an adjective. So an adjective, you guys, describes a person, place, or thing or idea, right? It describes a noun. So you're going to hear me say, just to keep it simple, a describing word, right? A describing word is an adjective. Okay. Okay. So for example, a happy dog, a tired boy, seven girls, right? So like what kind, which one, how many, what are they like? How are you feeling? Okay. Well, those are, so cuantos and cual or cuales are question words for which, Kimura, to answer your question, the response would be a describing word, right? So is como. So is como, how, right? How is that teacher? Oh, that teacher is nice, right? Como. Okay, so those certain question words will ask for an adjective, right? Or describing word. Yes, you're right, Kamora. Okay. All right, so an adjective is when we describe a noun or something like that. So what do we call, you guys, something that describes an action? What is something that describes a verb? Do we know that in English? What do we call words that describe an action, like running fast? What is fast?
An adverb.
Very good. It's an adverb, okay? Because it's describing a verb. It's describing an action, okay? All right, any questions, you guys? Questions so far? All right. So how are we feeling about masculine and feminine? Give me a 3, 2, 1, you guys, real quick. Give me a 3, 2, 1. 3, I get it. 2, I will get it. 1, I'm confused. Tell me how you feel about masculine or feminine. You get it? Is the 3? 2 is I will get it. And 1 is I'm confused. Okay, sounds good. Anyone else? You get the idea. You just need to get used to it. Absolutely. And you're gonna hate at some point, you know, you guys, you're gonna hate hearing me say this over and over and over and over again, but that's just kind of how it has to be. Okay, so that we can practice. Okay. All right, so we have a few more minutes left. And let me see. I want to look at something real quick. Oh, I need to take attendance too. But how many of you have not, and you don't have to answer me, I just kind of want you to think about it. How many of you have not completed the question word practice sheet? And how many of you have not completed all of your VHL work? Okay, so again, you don't have to answer me necessarily. Yep. But you might want to check. I know that there are several of you who still need to complete the VHL assignments. Remember, you guys, that the 4th, which is what, Thursday, is our progress reports. So if you have, you know, things that you still need to get done, you need to get them done by Thursday. I'm just double checking, just make sure we're all good to go. Yeah, there's several of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of us who have not turned in that question word practice sheet. So you need to be working on that now, actually. So head on over to Canvas. Open that up. Oh, I just clicked off of it, James. I'll have to go back there. Hold on 1 second. And then in VHL, there is the clasificar, which was due 29 that several of you have not done. There's also a presentación that you guys need to check out. Yeah. If you don't know how to access them, you need to speak up, okay? All right. So I'm going to give you guys some time to ask me questions, to work in VHL, or to complete that practice sheet on the question words. So we only have a couple of minutes left. Yeah, several of you still need to do that practice sheet. So let's make sure we get that done. Otherwise, you guys have been doing a great job getting your stuff turned in. I will later this afternoon, Kimura, because I see it here in the grade book that I need to check it again. James, I'm trying to answer your question, my friend. And yes, you did. James, did you hear me? Okay, perfect. Thank you. A couple of you still need to do the video sheet on the school that we saw in the Andes, the kids that had to walk for like 2 miles. So you need to get that video sheet turned in. Again, grades or reports are due Thursday, so you guys want to make sure that you got all your stuff turned in. All right, I'm going to take roll before we sign off. Don't leave. I haven't taken roll. Do not sign off just yet, you guys. All right. Muy bien. All right. See you guys jueves. Nos vemos jueves. See you on Thursday. Don't forget to study for your quiz. Get your work done. Adios a todos. Gracias. Good job today. Adios.